I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
spider web
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having
terrible
fun.
Wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM. My name is Miriam, and I am the voice of Stockton.
Brother. Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Tell me about this awesome podcast / radio show.
Watching from ringside?
That one, yes.
Yes.
Where we do great impressions like... Now that you're going to do your Macho Man, okay.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
Or, I'll tell you what. What? Or, hey, baby. I can't do... I'm trying to do my Dusty.
Baby.
Hey, baby. How you doing, baby?
How you doing?
I'll tell you what, baby.
Wrestling, watching from ringside. Is that you?
That's me, baby. Live and in living color.
Only on KXVS, baby, the voice of Stockton.
So people on the Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope land are tune in any way you want to because we are watching from ringside.
All day, every day, only on Friday. And maybe Saturday, too. Sometimes on a Sunday, because, you know, they got them special shows. Know what I'm talking about, baby?
Stop stealing my gimmick. But
yeah.
Ben, let's get into all seriousness. This is like, watching from ringside, as we were talking about, is a pro wrestling show. With
the
fun.
only pro wrestling show on KXVS.
Or in Stockton.
Or in Stockton, yes.
Yeah, come tell us if you're somebody else.
The premier podcast.
Yeah. The premier podcast of pro wrestling talk in the Central Valley is me and Ben. And it's fun. So we talk about the role of wrestling from our perspective and give you the latest going-ons of what's going on.
KXVS.
The role of wrestling, right?
The voice of Stockton live. The voice of Stockton at Stone Soup Studio. KXVS.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Hello and welcome to True Talk with Christina, where we share the truth and nothing but the truth to help you create your best life. Today's show is about getting started in investing in real estate. And I have my very special guest, my good friend Diego Hera from Keller Williams Realty. He is a very successful agent, and hopefully he's going to share some of that with us and some of that knowledge to help you get started investing in real estate without fear. We'll dispel some myths that revolve around real estate investing. And of course, before that, I have my legal and compliance disclaimer to read. Then I'll share some news and stats with you, and then we'll dive into the topic. Welcome to True Talk with Christina. My name is Christina Kimball, and I am the branch manager for Edge Home Finance Corporation, which is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 891464, and my personal NMLS 1484144. We support equal housing opportunity. You can find us online at www.edgehomefinancecv.com. That's CV for the Central Valley. I am a licensed professional real estate agent and grow leadership development at Volent Real Estate. My license number is 019124661, licensed by the California Department of Real Estate. You can visit our real estate website at www.volentrealestate.com. I'm also an executive director and certified coach, trainer, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, where we believe that leadership is influence and the first person you lead is yourself. You can learn more about leadership and professional development on my website at ChristinaKimballSpeaks.com. Now for our mortgage news, we do anticipate the feds will increase rates tomorrow. If you're in contract on purchasing a home, get a hold of your loan officer and ask them to lock you now. If you're comfortable with risk, you can wait. However, we do not anticipate rates going down anytime soon. We're talking like over the next several years. The economy's looking good, inflation is up, wages are up, and employment looks great. Those are the factors we look at in regards to rates going up or down. When the economy's stronger, rates go up because the feds feel people can afford it now. So we do expect a total of 2 rate increases by the end of this year. However, rates are still good. We will see by the end of the year probably solidly in the 5% range, if not the beginning of the year. But again, it's still good. If we're not up at 12 and 14, 15, 17%, I think we're pretty good. Now, for our real estate update, we look at 5 cities in San Joaquin County, and we look at the number of sold homes. We pull these numbers from Metrolist. I pulled these this afternoon at 12:23 p.m. So as of that time, there are 169 single-family homes for sale in Lodi. That's up from 151 last week. In Stockton, there are 751, and that is up from 670 last week. Manteca has 158 single-family homes for sale, and that is up 144 from last week. And Tracy and Mountain House, 204. That's up from 182 last week. And Modesto coming in at number 2 in the high numbers for San Joaquin County. Or not, they're not San Joaquin, but in the Valley, Central Valley. 514 single-family homes, and that is up from 445 last week. So we're seeing the numbers increase pretty consistently here. We are still in a seller's market. We haven't got so much inventory that we flipped over to a buyer's market. So it is a good time to sell. And with the rates where they are, it's a good time to buy. Pretty good, huh?
That's awesome. Lock in those rates.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Oops, I messed up my notes here, so I'm not going to share the same Mythbuster from last week. We got one Mythbuster, and then we'll go into our topic. So this week, we are looking at credit card myths. And I pulled some information from, it sounds terrible, but Fool.com. And this is from an article titled 7 Common Credit Card Myths by Matthew Frankel. It is saying that often people think that a debit or, let me get the right verbiage here, or a prepaid credit card is going to help with their credit. That is false. That's a myth. A better choice is a secured credit card, preferably from an institution that reports to the three major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. If it's reporting to all 3, that's going to have the greatest benefit on your credit score. So those debit and prepaid cards, they're not helping your credit score. But a secured credit card, that is, especially if it's reporting to all 3 bureaus, that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck.
I know a lot of the local banks in our area provide that. Bank of Stockton's one of them that provides a secured card.
Yeah, BBVA Compass too. I know they report to all 3 every month, so it was really good for helping the credit scores. And that voice and the other person you're seeing, if you're watching us on video, that is Diego Hera with Keller Williams Realty. Welcome to True Talk with Christina.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited. We have talked about this in the past through other mediums,
Sure.
Getting started investing in real estate. So today, before we dive into that, like really dive into it, can you share some of the success that your team has had, not just in investing, but also regular traditional sales, or your team has grown quite a bit this year?
My team has grown from the beginning of the year. We had a goal of 100 properties for the end of the year. We've already hit that.
That's awesome.
I had to readjust our goals, but
yeah.
Our team is just doing amazing. And part of that is just we're finding people on our team that know how to hustle. They're willing to work that extra step for our buyers and sellers.
Yeah, well, you have, I think, a pretty good system in place. I mean, you've been in real estate for a while.
14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
And this is your first team that you're leading, right?
Absolutely. I was a part of a team. So people that are scared to join a team, it's not a bad idea. You get to, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So I was with someone for a long time that was one of the top producers, Frank Silvera, for a long, long time. But I learned how to be able to grow my business the way I should. Because let someone fail and try different systems and let them teach you what works and what doesn't work.
It can save you hours upon hours, months, years even, really, as opposed to getting started by yourself or joining a team. Team doesn't necessarily work for everybody. Not everybody knows how to build a team and support a team. So clearly you must be doing something right, because it's growing, and I consistently see, hey, we're on record, we've closed, look at my new home buyers, look at my happy home sellers. I mean, you have a lot going on. Well, clearly 100 already this year.
Yeah, we're really excited. I think we're going to have to double our goal for next year.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we're doing, I'm just going to be very honest, some of the things that people in the real estate business have been getting away with, they can't anymore. So the days of using your cell phone to take front photos of a house that's $500,000, you can't do that anymore. You have to have someone that knows what they're doing with professional cameras. You have to be able to price it correctly, because the market's just not going to catch up to you.
Right.
You have to find someone that is experienced to add value to it, other than just put it on the internet, because anyone can do that.
Right. That we could totally go off on a tangent on that.
Absolutely.
There's so much that just went through my mind with what you just said. However, we're going to talk about real estate investing today. So how long have you been working really strongly with real estate investors?
For the last 8 years.
8 years.
So for about 8 years, I've been buying homes at auctions, either online or at the court steps, or buying it directly from the sellers, or buying it from having people present them to me.
So that would be an advantage. Let's say real estate agent over here, real estate agent A, and yes, Diego and I are at different companies, but that doesn't stop me from bringing him on the show, because he has knowledge that you can benefit from. In addition, he's going to have a stronger background when it comes to working with investors than I do, for example. So call Diego. If you like what you hear today, consider calling Diego if you'd like to know more and get started in real estate investing. Because one of the things, I think it scares people just hearing the word investing. It can bring up a lot of fear. What do I do?
Sure.
I don't know what I'm doing. But if somebody wants to get started investing in real estate, whether they own their own home or not, can you help them?
Absolutely. There's so many different forms of real estate investing. It's the same adage of how many different ways is it to cook an egg.
Yeah.
You can invest in rental properties. You can, right now, the big thing is using your self-defined benefit plans. People that don't see as good a return on the 401k, they're moving that money into a rental property. I just helped my father-in-law with that.
Awesome.
And it's amazing. As long as you hit a certain age, I think it's 55 or over, you can buy a rental with your 401k and not get taxed on the income you create from it.
And that, of course, we're not accounting CPAs or specialists, anything like that. So you would want to talk to your financial planner about this option. But it is a really great option. We pulled money out, not to invest, but we pulled money out of retirement to purchase our primary residence. So sometimes people don't think about that. Hey, you actually have some money sitting there, and you can make it work for you. So if somebody doesn't know anything, and they come to you, what's the first thing you would talk with them about?
First thing is we're going to have a buyer's consultation on what they're looking to do and what investment best suits that. It might be a rental property. It might be a multifamily property. It might be a fix and flip where, hey, I have some extra money. I'd love to see if I can make some percentage out of that per year.
Can you explain the difference for people, the difference between an investment property like a single family home and a multifamily unit?
Sure. Single family home is something that you're going to rent to one person. You only have one person that you have to deal with, and you only have one property to deal with. It'd be a regular house. You'll put it on the market either through a property management company, or you can just put it on Craigslist. What's interesting about Craigslist is even the property managers you're using Craigslist
Right.
to advertise their home.
Yeah, they are.
So that's separate from a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex. Those, you're going to have a lot more phone calls if things happen. So instead of just one rental to worry about, you might have 2 or 3 to worry about. But if you buy it going in good, you know everything about the property because you've already done all your inspections. Now, a fix and flip is something where, hey, and I get a lot of people that come from this field is, hey, I've worked on floors before, or I've worked in landscaping, I've worked in paint before. So they already have a sense of they already have connections on how to get some of the work done. Mm-hmm. Well, that might make sense if you can do the work yourself, even better. If you can find a property, let's say I'm just using basic numbers, you can find a property for $200,000, put 20 into it, and then it's worth $300,000 at the end of the remodel. Well, you don't necessarily have to sell them. You could keep that, and you have built-in equity into your rental.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to cook an egg.
That's right. That's right. And I think one of the things I want to make sure that people are aware of, because one of the fears my husband had when we would have conversations around investing is like, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to manage the property. You don't have to. If that's the barrier, you can get around that by hiring a reputable property manager to take care of that property. They can screen the tenants, they can find a good person, they can take care of repair requests. It's all based on your agreement with them. So just to put that out there and kind of get that out of the way so we can focus on the investing part is if that's a concern you have, you know, you can get a hold of me, you can get a hold of Diego, and we can refer you to a good property manager in your area. Maybe you're here where I am in Stockton, maybe you're in Tracy where Diego's based out of. I mean, we work the whole Central Valley, but you also go into East Bay.
I'll go to East Bay, I'll go into Bear. I mean, we just helped a family out of San Mateo, so out that far. Yeah. But there's great opportunities everywhere.
There are.
Every city has a great opportunity. The information we're providing today, it's not just Stockton specific. You can go to Florida and use the same exact experience.
I think that's important to really reiterate is that some people may think for investment purposes, now is not a good time to buy because home prices are high. What do you say to that? So here's the myth. Now's not a good time to buy an investment. What's the truth?
It's always a good time if the numbers make sense.
Can you repeat that?
It's always a good time if the numbers make sense. If you find a deal and all the numbers tell you it's a good deal and you pass upon it, that's a missed opportunity. I mean, when the market, I've been around the ups and downs in the entire market. When the market was at its lowest and the prices were going down, that's when my investors made 20 to 25% return on every single investment. Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be opportunities. Let's say the market does go down a little bit. There's going to be great opportunities. There's going to be rental properties that haven't been on the market. There's going to be houses that need to be fixed. There's going to be great opportunities for investors out there.
And here's another thing I firmly believe is that people might have a concern. Well, I don't want to be a landlord. I like it when I'm surrounded by homeowners instead of rental properties. Here's the thing. There are landlords, and then there are landlords, people who actually take care of the property and really screen who's coming in. I mean, not discrimination. We're not talking about that, but making sure that the person is going, doing the background checks and doing what you need to do when you're renting. But also, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about a specific area either, like, oh, well, we're in a hoity-toity neighborhood and we only want hoity-toity people. I'm talking about all of the areas, even the disadvantaged areas. There are landlords who don't take care of their property. There are landlords that don't take care of the tenants when needs arise in that home. You can be the landlord that makes a difference. You can be the landlord that takes care of that property and make sure it's maintained as it should be. And I think those are some of the things that give us the negative connotation when it comes to landlords.
So one of the investors I work with just picked up a couple apartment complexes. He changed the entire look of the apartment complex. So it went from something that was an eyesore in the neighborhood. Now it's the most beautiful development there. and he still has to honor all the leases and agreements that the previous owner had. And now they get to live in a place that has brand new paint, new landscaping throughout the whole place. It looks dynamite. He's adding value, so when there is a new vacancy, he can collect more rent. But the people that are living there get to enjoy a brand new place.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because if somebody's looking for a property, there's potential that there could be tenants there with a lease agreement.
Absolutely. So you have to have all your ducks in a row, but you also need to know everything about that property. So first thing is we don't buy property unseen unless it's an incredible deal. Most of the time, you're going to do all your inspections. The most important ones that we always do is a termite, roof inspection, home inspection. Those are the three musts, the three amigos.
Yeah.
And that's with investment properties, and that's with rental properties that we're dealing with. We want to know everything about the property so you know what you're getting into.
That's good. I mean, even on the non-investing side, owner-occupied, we always encourage inspections because you're spending a lot of money. Even if you have a loan, it's probably potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the purchase price. It's a huge investment, and that is one way to protect it is by doing those inspections. So you talked about different ways of acquiring properties.
Absolutely.
Can you?
So we acquire properties in a couple different ways. We go through auctions that are either online or in person, meaning that they're at the courthouse steps. Those are for more seasoned investors because there's more risk involved in those. But there's online auctions as well. There's companies like auction.com, Hubzoo. I think HUD has their own website that they do auctions on. You can also buy properties directly from a neighbor. So we talked about before. We just had a success with a zombie property. So
zombie property. I love that term.
So zombie properties, everyone has a zombie property in their neighborhood. They just don't know they do.
Yeah.
Zombie properties is that house that's been vacant for 10 years and you're wondering who owns it, what's going on with it. Occasionally someone might come by and mow the lawn, but we really don't know anything about it. Well, most of the time they don't know themselves what they're going to do with the property.
Right.
So if you make them an offer, they definitely are interested. So there's a lot of, and we're talking Tracy, Mountain House, Manteca, Spanos Park in Stockton, Murata in Stockton, right? Their properties are vacant. People don't know what to do with them. We get people where, hey, I was renting that house, but I don't want to be a landlord anymore. I'll just wait and see what happens with the market.
Right.
Those are the best properties to approach.
Yeah, and we do see that. We see that a good number. So if somebody sees one of those in their neighborhood, could they give you a call and see what you could do? Absolutely.
So I pay for services that allow us to contact them. Worst case scenario, we're going to send them a postcard or a mailer and say, hey, would you consider selling that property? A lot of times they'll call us and say, what do you think it's worth? Or, I'm thinking about selling it, but maybe in the summer. We'll have a discussion and we'll put that on our books to keep following up on.
That's good. Since we're talking about that, can you share your phone number?
Sure. My number is 209-740-8420. Easiest agent out there to get a hold of. I answer my phone. It's important to me. I do real estate 24/7 because it's a passion for me.
And do you have a website people can visit?
I do have a website. It's Diego J. Herrera, HERRA.com. And we help investors, we help regular sellers sell their homes.
Cool. So one of the things that can also hinder people from getting started in investing is I'm not a handyman or a handywoman, and I can't do that work myself. Diego, what do I do? So
that's why it's important to use experts. Anyone that does flip properties or they work with investors, they have a whole team. I have a team of people that I've used for years that I completely trust. You need a painter? I got a painter. You need a landscaper? I got a great landscaper. And then they do a good job, not just because I've worked with them and they work with me solely, is I've had hundreds of properties that we've done together, and I know what their quality is. And if they don't do a good job, they risk potentially losing our companies as their client. So they're not going to jeopardize that. So they're going to make sure that the work is done properly and correctly. It's important to use experts. It's important to use licensed contractors. You want people knowing how to do it properly and to code.
Yes. Yes. And if a permit's required, you want them pulling a permit.
Absolutely.
For things. That's super important. There was something you mentioned before we went on the air that you kind of wanted to address around gentrification.
So the big G word, gentrification. Gentrification, people think that what we do is we take people out that are on the lower income and then we bring in middle class people. That's not what we do. Most of the time we're doing is we're making the worst house on the block into a house that a normal family is going to. The house that's been vacant for 15 years. We just had one that it's been vacant for 15 years in French Camp.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And the investor had to spend almost close to $100,000. So they invested $100,000 in our community to get it where it's at. So this is a house that is, it's what the vagrants were going to. It's when people were, the grass is, taller than me. It was an eyesore in the neighborhood. Now, we have neighbors come to us and say, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's been like that since I was a kid."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's something that my investor resold to a family, and the family works in the area, and it's like the best thing possible. The family that's buying the house is some sort of mechanic, so he works right in that same neighborhood, and he's been trying to find a house where it'd be close to his work. So
that particular house, was it one somebody contacted you to sell, or you contacted them?
So this is one that they contacted my investor.
Okay. My
investor saw that the house was a zombie property. They went through all the steps and found out who the owner were. And talking to my investor, it took them 3 years to actually buy the house.
Wow.
It's been in the family for so long. So once they were finally ready, they contacted my investor. My investor made it into a beautiful home. And, $100,000 worth of work later, it's the nicest house in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing for the community.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many homes where where you're just driving on, you're like, what's going on with that house? Mm-hmm. Well, imagine if those homes weren't eyesores, that were fixed up homes. You drive around certain cities in California, the high-end cities, you'll never see that because so many investors have contacted that person. I have family and friends out of La Jolla and San Diego. You'll never see any house that needs to be fixed up there because they self-police it. They'll make sure that, hey, what can we do to help to make this house nicer?
So how much money would you say, and this is, we haven't pre-talked about really any of this. It's kind of questions off the cuff. How much money would you say for somebody getting started investing in real estate? What do you think is a good number? It obviously depends on where they're buying a home and all those things. But what do you think would be a good number for people to kind of have in their mind?
I think when someone considers investment in real estate, they should think annual returns. So I talked to, this is a famous story, but years ago, I was in Vegas and I was playing cards. And the guy next to me was a stockbroker. And I'm like, what's a good investment in a stockbroker annually? And he said, well, if we do double digits per year, you're a rock star. And I was like, wow, that's it? Well, in real estate, we do double that. So if you're looking to be very conservative and say, if I make 20% a year on my money, by the end of that year, that's a phenomenal return. Mm-hmm. If you did that for the next 5 years, you double your money. That's the type of investment that I love.
See, and I love that you said that, because if somebody's putting that money in a bank account or they're putting it into savings, it's not a 20% return. See, you laugh because it's so ridiculous what we get when we put money in the bank as opposed to investing it in real estate smartly. Obviously, you want to do it the right way, but to get that return, 20% is huge.
Money in your bank account, and this is what every investor and you have your every investment speaker out there. It's bullets in your gun. You know, when you have money, if you're not using it to work for you, Warren Buffett says money never sleeps.
Right.
Right. So you should have it work for you. So the worst thing is to have money in your bank account. Have it in some type of investment. Do not stocks, real estate. Have it in something that's working for you while you're asleep.
Because the thing is, it is working regardless. It's kind of like renting and home owning.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If it's in the bank, your money's working, and it's working for the bank.
That's right.
Because when you're renting, you're putting money into your living situation, and it's working for the homeowner, which is your landlord, versus owning and that money working for you, whether it's even your primary residence. And that's another source of income for people who want to invest. If you have equity in your home, you could pull the cash out and use it to purchase an investment property.
Absolutely. We have people that refinance their home and they owe it outright, and they're getting taxed on the money because they don't owe anything on their house.
Yeah, make that money work.
Make that money work for you while you sleep.
Yeah.
I love, so I always tell this story, but I love this story. The story is it's Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. They're going to lunch. They had a big conference on Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Mm-hmm. Warren Buffett agreed to do some giving to that foundation. Well, they went to lunch at McDonald's. Not a fancy place.
Yeah.
So Bill Gates pays. He uses a coupon. I love that. It just shows that they're billionaires for a reason because they make smart moves. And I mean, I've been people who were like, no, I wouldn't use a coupon. These are two billionaires that are using a coupon.
Right.
And one of them owns partially, so they own a share of that company.
Yeah.
And they're using their own coupons. That's how you need to manage your money. Every cent matters, mm-hmm. and you can't be afraid to save money when you can. A good example of that is different flooring companies that we have. If there's a sale going on, that's the new flooring that we're going to be using. Yeah. We're going to save 20%. That's a huge difference. Mm-hmm. So you need to be accountable of what you do with your investments.
Awesome. So we're just about out of time. What's one thing you want to make sure everybody knows when it comes to getting started investing in real estate? Other than call you, of course.
Call me, but talk to an accountant first. Accountant will set you up with an LLC, because if you don't, if you buy it under your personal name, you'll have to pay a 3 1/3 withholding tax. If you have an LLC or an S corp or C corp, you won't have to do that, and you can compound your money when you invest. But always buy something as long as you're making money going in. Don't buy something if you're looking for that pie in the sky. The numbers have to make sense today.
Right. So that's very good advice. Thank you very much. If you're not a numbers person, you don't have to worry about it, because Diego can help you with that side of it. And if anything is you're fearful of, I would encourage you to do this. If you've ever had a desire to invest in real estate, or ever thought, that would be fun, or that would be nice, or maybe that could be my retirement plan, I encourage you to reach out to a professional such as Diego and his team. Not just his literal real estate team. You also have his team of professionals, the contractors, the landscapers, etc. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
It was fun. It's always fun. Diego's full of great information. So, we always wind up the show with our national holidays. And I get these from nationaldaycalendar.com. Today is National Comic Book Day.
All right. Spider-Man.
I won't sing anymore. Another one is National One Hit Wonder Day.
All right. And the Macarena.
There There you go. That's perfect. It's also Math Storytelling Day.
All right, that's where you got me. I don't know anything. I don't know math jokes.
I'm lost on that one. Yes, I'm getting there. It is also National Lobster Day.
There you go.
To that I go, make sure I back up from the mic. I am not a fan of lobster. It is also National Voter Registration Day.
Boom, there's the one.
Yeah, so if you have not registered to vote, I encourage you to do that today. Get that taken care of. Celebrate the National Voter Registration Day. There's also two more. There's a lot of holidays today. It is National Research Administrator Day. So feel free to appreciate your research administrator. And National Tune-Up Day.
Get your cars tuned up.
Yeah, vroom vroom. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you will. Actually, I will not be here next week, but I'll be back the following week. Otherwise, we are here live at 105 every Tuesday on KXVS, the voice of Stockton. You can watch us on social media, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook. We live stream, and if you like what you hear, consider becoming a supporting member. It's as little as, I believe, $9 a month and helps keep the station running with all of our volunteers here. And if you'd like to learn more or to set up your membership, go to kxvs.org. Thanks again for tuning in. Sometimes I get tongue-tied. Have an amazing week and let the truth be your guide.